New Orleans, the Big Easy, home of the beignets and some kickin' Cajun food. If you are planning a New Orleans trip, check out my 5 tips that I've got going on that are budget friendly inside of this video. I recently took a trip down to the Big Easy for my dirty 30. Now, New Orleans can get pricey, I'm not gonna lie. I actually did spend quite a few dollars just on airfare and accommodations alone, but the rest of these budget friendly travel tips inside of this video is going to help you cut down on cost. So my first strategy is to opt for an Airbnb instead of a hotel. I ended up splitting an Airbnb with 5 people total. So 3 of my friends plus my husband, and we ended up spending about $157 per person per night for 3 nights. The only thing I would change about this is our Airbnb was located in mid-city, and I wished our accommodations were closer to the French Quarter just for the sake of saving on Ubers. Ubers ended up being really costly for all of us, and heads up, if you are flying into the New Orleans airport and then Ubering downtown, plan on about $30 to $35 one way for an Uber ride. Which leads me into my next point. The easiest and cheapest transportation on how to get around in New Orleans is the streetcar. So it's just $1.25 per ride one way. You can take the streetcar as far down in New Orleans as you want to through the city. It's $1.25 no matter if you get off on the 3rd stop or the 9th stop. So when you go and hop on the streetcar, you're actually going to, feed money into the meter, and then it's going to spit out a ticket. If you've overpaid the meter, so it's $1.25 and let's say you had $2, it's going to put a cash equivalent balance on that card so you can use it for next time. So you don't necessarily get your cash back out of it. That cash balance just goes onto a future streetcar ride. So just be aware of that. Also be aware that you should pull the little lever, the little cable when you want to get off, because sometimes they don't stop at every single stop unless you notify the driver. So there are plenty of restaurants and coffee shops and seafood, Cajun restaurants in the area, but some of the best places that I found that offered a good deal included a coffee shop, a bar, and a restaurant. So the coffee shop that I went to is CeCes Coffee Shop. I think this is a local chain, but I found it in a quieter block in the French Quarter for an afternoon pick-me-up. And what I really liked about this coffee shop is I mentioned that it was my birthday, and they gave me $1 off my coffee, which was really sweet of them. They didn't have to do that. This just goes to show if you're celebrating something, why not tell the barista, and who knows, they may offer you a discount, which is really cool. So the coffee was really good. I got $1 off. They were really friendly staff. Definitely check out CeCes Coffee House. The next place that I visited was Razoo Bar. So this was they had really loud music. So if you're not into that, skip it. If you're into that, definitely check this out. They have an indoor and outdoor area, and on Sunday afternoons they had 3-for-1 beers, which was like crazy. So for $7.50 you could get 3 of their local beer. Actually, it was all beers. But what we did is we opted for their local beer, which I think is called Abitas. Somebody tell me if I'm saying this right. Abitas? This is their amber beer. It's a really light, local favorite. I actually didn't see too many of the local breweries, but that one we had, and we got 3 of them for $7.50 at Razoo's on a Sunday afternoon. So definitely check them out. It was a great place just to sit and chill. So there are a lot of restaurants, but my favorite restaurant that I went to while I was in New Orleans was the Ruby Slipper Cafe. The food was so good, and I'm not gonna lie, this wasn't as budget friendly as some other restaurants that might be in town, but the portions are generous, so you can opt to split your meal with your friend or your loved one. You'll have plenty of food to go around. Their dishes were local favorites. They had shrimp and grits, they had handmade biscuits, probably like the best biscuit I've ever had in my life, and I'm not a biscuit lover, y'all. And they had like the cinnamon butter with it. It was so good. Now, there are a couple locations in New Orleans. There's one centrally located downtown, and do not go to that one. You want to go to the one that's in mid-city. That one is way more relaxed. It's more local, and I think that one was the original spot, if I'm mistaken. Let me know in the comments if that's not true, but that place was way better than the one that's downtown. The Ruby Slipper was so good. I went there twice because their food was just that amazing. So hands down, my favorite experience actually wasn't in New Orleans in particular. It was actually in Marrero, Louisiana, which is about 25 minutes south of New Orleans, at John Lafitte Swamp Tour. So one of the coolest things about being in New Orleans is not just Bourbon Street or the French Quarter, but we went on a swamp tour. This was probably one of the best things that I've done so far on this trip. I went onto Groupon, found a ticket for $18 per person. We went on this hour, I think it was like an hour and a half cruise on these boats, and I'll show you, they're just right behind me. These boats right here, and not even 10 minutes ago, there were 2 gators on either side of the boat ramp. It was a little freaky. I saw so many gators. We probably saw about 15 to 20. Our guide was awesome, money well spent. You should definitely check out John Lafitte, I think I'm saying that right, I'll put it in the description, John Lafitte Swamp Tours. They're on Groupon right now. I don't know how long they're going to be on there, but highly recommend adding this to your New Orleans trip. Okay, a great spot inside of the French Quarter that literally cost us just $7 was the New Orleans Historic Voodoo Museum. In my mind, it's not really like grand like a museum. It actually was just a few rooms, but it is filled with artifacts and history about the voodoo culture and how that's really shaped New Orleans. It was really kind of spooky. I won't go into detail about all what we saw in there, but you'll definitely want to check that out. Also, what's cool about this is they offer student and military discounts, and you can even book longer trips and tours with them. They will take you on a cemetery tour. You can do more one-on-one personalized tours that go even longer, but the $7 admission is just going to allow you to roam about the rooms by yourself, and I had a blast. I didn't touch anything because I don't know about that. We asked our Uber driver whether or not she was in the voodoo, hoodoo, whatty, and she said that her grandma said, if you believe in it, it's real. There are, of course, a ton of places in NOLA that I didn't cover in this video, so drop me a comment below if there are some other budget-friendly tips that you've taken advantage of while you're down in the Big Easy. I'd love to know. There's so much free entertainment just walking around the French Quarter, listening to bands or watching street performers. It's really, really fun. I highly recommend doing New Orleans, and you can do it on a budget, guys. Drop me a comment below and safe travels to the Big Easy.